Hello and welcome back to PowerWash Simulator. When we last left off, we were still tackling the subway. And we're gonna continue doing that. So let's continue doing that. Let's get to, let's say here. Uh, okay. So, uh, what are we? We are still very much cleaning the subway. So, let's continue on with that. Let's get this bit first, before anything else. We've actually made a pretty good dent. I think we were at 60-some percent, and I know it doesn't seem like we've jumped a ton between videos. But to be fair, again, this is actually a really large area. This isn't the largest area, but it is pretty big. There we go. And we got more oil, I think. Unlike a number of previous videos, so it takes an hour or thereabout to record one of these videos. And if I get distracted, it takes longer because I have to stop and I have to come back. That's, so in a concerted effort to avoid being on my computer for several hours at a time, I've kind of gotten out of the habit of recording multiple episodes. So the last couple of episodes have been one-offs. I record an episode and then I go do something else. But I'm also trying to build my buffer back out, so it's a bit of a pickle I find myself in. There. You know what? Hold, please. Okay. I had to grab something real quickly. But actually, that brings us to the question of the day. Question is, what is your favorite comic book? Me, I am actually quite partial to, I actually really like Saga. It's been a while since I've had the opportunity to read it, but I do like Saga. Something else I really like, was a comic called Vendette. It was about, a French thief, and, like, she's really good at her job. It's really neat, it's really funny, I don't know if they're still producing it. Last I checked, they had either finished it or had finished the current go and were taking a hiatus. I don't remember. I may actually have to check into it, but it's a good comic. So is Saga. I do need to pick it up again. But I don't know why I never think of picking up comics. I think it's mostly just space and DRM issue. Because like, digital comics are great and all. They're really helpful, especially when you don't have the physical space for comics. But then there's the DRM issue. Um, I am not a fan of the current DRM system we have going on because it's like it's supposed to. The whole point was it's supposed to stop piracy, but it does a lot more than that. Um, and everything is dealing with DRM right now. Like everything. I remember when they kind of started rolling it out, and everybody's like, "This is gonna be a problem," and lo and behold, it's a problem. And I did not like that chug. Uh, and don't get me wrong, I'm all for um making sure that things are secure, I guess. But DRM doesn't seem to help much. And more than anything, it can still in fact be defeated. Let's see. There we go. There. That should I think people have been kind of fussing about DRM primarily because, like, you know how irritating it is to have to deal with your stuff being locked to one device? Like, it's irritating. On a good day, it's irritating. Oh, I would like to be able to move my stuff freely between devices. But if I want to do that, I have to sign into the device, and I have to, I have to deal with all of the account nonsense and the 2FA, because I do try to use 2FA. Like, there's nothing worse than losing your stuff because somebody happened to it. And yes, that is in fact how I choose to phrase that. I have purchased stuff for other people on, like, my iTunes account, and do you know how irritating it is to have to sign into other people's computers, and then, like, you can only be signed into X amount of computers, and you have to deal with that whole rigmarole, and I just want to play my music, man. I just want to read my comics. I want to I just want to be left alone. Leave me alone. Let me read my comics and my books and all that nonsense. But no, if I buy a book, if I buy a book digitally, I have to deal with it being on a platform, and it's obnoxious. DRM isn't just obnoxious. It's just like extra obnoxious. And I'm sure there's probably somebody that can tell you a whole lot more about why DRM is a problem, but I don't know, man. I'm just tired. I would like nothing more than to be able to just not have to deal with that sort of thing, but And what's extra funny is, like, I remember when I think it was Xbox One rolled out, and there was this whole thing about sharing games and how you couldn't share games because they were tied to your account and all of this assorted nonsense. Oh, let's clean that up. And like, I remember everybody kind of taking the piss out of Microsoft for it. And it, it was just like, it was a thing. Unfortunately, we have not learned much from that. Let's start here. There we go. Let's see. Get this bit of platform ledge. And I do apologize for the silly the ramblings that I tend to get into. A lot of times I'm recording these pretty early in the morning. Like, no, it is just 8 o'clock, and I started recording the episode prior to this, after 6, and I have not really been to sleep. Which is really weird. And that isn't to say that, like, what I'm saying doesn't mean anything or doesn't matter, because, oh, I'm recording these at weird hours. It's just, it is a little harder to get your brain to focus on anything coherent when you're running on 2 hours of sleep. And it's 6 in the morning. But yeah, I don't know, man. Because I'm thinking about what I just said. I recognize that some of that is not coherent. Let's see. And I also know that, like, once I get to a certain point, I kind of run out of things to say. And I recognize that this does not require being a stream of consciousness, but I also am admittedly not great with silence. So, you know, grain of salt or whatever. There we go. Make sure we're getting the track, though. But comics. I know last episode I was talking about superheroes and how my de facto Wolverine is the guy that did Wolverine's voice for the 90s animated TV series. And how I, really kind of can't do other Wolverines as a result. And I have come to the stark realization that the same is going to be true of Kevin Conroy, who I believe died earlier this year. I think he died around June, if I'm remembering correctly. Kevin Conroy's Bruce Wayne, Batman are like the Batman. He's like so much so that they had him reprise the role for the video games. Incidentally enough, the woman who played Harley Quinn also died this year. Earlier in September, if I'm remembering correctly. Her name escapes me at the moment, but she is the reason that Harley sounds like that. That is just straight up her. And she did a good role. She did a good job on the role. Of course, Mark Hamill playing Joker. It always feels really weird hearing other people play the role. He summarily reprised his role as Joker for the video games. So if you've played like the Arkham Knight series, the Joker you're hearing is in fact Mark Hamill. And I don't think a lot of people know that. Like, Luke Skywalker played Joker. It's actually kind of a trippy thing, because you think of Luke Skywalker and you don't, like, you think of Mark Hamill, you don't really think of Joker. Unless you're in a certain age group, I guess. But I think, now that I think about it, I think Mark Hamill also did Joker in Batman Beyond. I say this with an air of unsureness, because I'm not sure. I've actually never seen Batman Beyond. I've seen bits and pieces. I've seen clips here and there, but I haven't actually seen the whole series. So mostly I'm just going based on the clip that I've seen online. I know there's that scene with Harry and Joker facing off, and how, like, the issue is you're obsessed with Batman because you could never get him to laugh. The man doesn't have a sense of humor. Of course, you can't get him to laugh. Also, like, you are deeply unfunny, so who wants to laugh at a half-rate 2-bit clown, And he takes deep offense to that, and, like, Harry starts laughing at him, and he takes deeper offense to it, and it's like, that feels like something straight out of I don't want to say it's straight out of Spider-Man's book, but it feels very antagonistically Peter Parker. Like, Peter's whole big thing is he's a talker. And he, like, talks to his villains all the way through the fights. I distinctly remember there's like there's an issue where he I think is sick and I think he has like laryngitis or something and he can't talk and he's quiet and it spooks all of the villains he's going up against because when Peter's quiet, there's a problem. And the problem is you're probably not gonna make it out alive. Uh, and speaking of Peter, like, Peter is. I think people kind of assume that because he's this like ridiculous character, he's, like not terribly, you know, not terribly strong, but if you know, you know. Like, there is, I don't know if it's an issue or if it's an arc of Doc Ock and Peter ending up swapping bodies. And it's this whole big thing. And he's like, oh, yeah, no, like, gotta keep up appearances or something. Um, he gets into a fight with Scorpion and proceeds to knock Scorpion's jaw off. There's also the issue where, like, he threatens, Kingpin? It's like, I'm not in the mood for this. So what's gonna happen here is I'm going to beat you. To a pulp. And I think it's like, I think somebody had gotten injured and it was somebody that Peter was close to and Kingpin was directly responsible for it. I believe that's how it goes. That he was directly responsible for the injury of the person. And his response to this was, this person had better make a full recovery or he certainly won't. And there's just something aggressively, I don't know, about a character that's usually like light and bubbly and happy and deciding, nope, we're gonna go full rogue. There's something about that that's just like chef's kiss. I don't know. Let's back that up a little. There we go. A slightly cleaner line. Okay. But yeah, I actually would like to get back into reading comics. But comics is kind of an expensive and, space-eating hobby. Because you have to have the room to keep the comics if you're going to have physical editions, and, it's... I don't know how much comics are now. I think they're like $5 an issue. So I would be getting TBRs. I'd be getting trades and collections instead of just going for individual issues. But even then, that still is gonna eat up quite a bit of space. Probably more so than floppies, but at least with a trade, you don't have to worry about You don't have to worry about long boxes. Those are kind of meant to be put on a shelf. Long boxes, individual floppies, not so much. Oh, please. Okay. I don't think you want to hear me having a acting alone up. Nobody wants to hear that. As we are getting into the colder months, and I'm sensitive. Get that track done. Make sure that we're getting all of that. But yeah, okay. Trades are great, but again, having physical media means needing to have space to put it. And I'm working with a fairly limited amount of space. Which is, generally speaking, why I want digital comics. But again, there's the DRM issue. Like, I bought it, let me have it. Don't lock it to a platform, which is a really big issue because, like, I get tired of having to download a new app for this thing, or you can only read this in this place, or you can only listen to that here, and it's like, can we not? Maybe I want to. Maybe I don't want my comics locked to such and such platform. Maybe I don't want my books locked to such and such platform. Maybe I just want to read my comics and listen to my music and read my books without all of the rigmarole associated with that. You know? Hey, oh, okay. Yeah, the cable's clean. Okay. That's the track. The subway remained closed for another 30 years until community funding allowed for its renovation. Okay, so 30 years. So 84, 94, 04, 14. It ran until 1984 when the main tunnel's extension repointing finally failed, thankfully, in the dead of night. I. Yeah, no, see, now I'm just confused again because, like, it's been untouched for years. So, like, what year is this game supposed to be taking place in? I know I asked that before, but no, seriously, what year is this game supposed to be taking place in? Oh, there we go. That track's also clean. That was the first track that we finished. There we go. You know, it's times like these where I regret deciding not to read into the lore. But in my defense, I think my brain's full enough on other lore. There we go. Where do I want to start? Hmm, that's good. And I think both parts of it is good. Yeah, okay. Let's go back down here and we'll just start from this end. Oh wait, didn't I? Yeah, there we go. So I technically have enough that I can buy the extension as well as buying the holder for the soap dispenser. I think I still want to wait because that would be most of the money I have. Still curious as to how much moss, why so much moss is accumulated. Like, if I'm remembering right, like, moss needs moisture. And I guess it implies that it's damp down here? Because there mold on the walls as well? Let's see. Oh, whatever it is, it's definitely a lot of dirt. There we go. I think. Oh, it just dawned on me. We still. I don't think we've gotten the castle yet. Or wait, is the golf course like standard part of the game? I can't remember. I think it is. We haven't gotten that yet. So I think I want to take a quick peek and see what other shops. I'll do that some other. I won't do that now. No. The fortune teller's wagon. Okay, so that's the thing that's coming up next. There we go. And I think you get a bit of a bonus for cleaning this. Like, I think you get an extra $250. we go. Because I want to clean those last. Please don't ask me why I cleaned them last. I couldn't tell you. But there we go. Awesome. We're at 82%, but this last 18% is actually going to be pretty hard fought, too. Here we go. So, I've been thinking, as far as comics go, because to get back to the question topic, I think there is currently, like, a lawsuit going on between an artist whose name I do not know off the top of my head, and, DC. Because I guess the guy created a character and DC's like, yeah, no, you don't actually own the rights to this, despite the fact that the contract, and I think it's DC, I believe it's DC, but, but the guy's like, not according to the contract. Like, the contract that we signed when I came on board with this character was X. You were saying Y. That's not how this is working, and I want to be paid. And I think it's a lawsuit. I don't know if it's actively a lawsuit yet. But it's actually really interesting, because I know there's a significant issue, where comic artists and writers don't actually, like, they don't get benefits or anything like that. Here we go. And, like, you have a lot of artists and writers who are, like, these really big, really prolific artists, and they're barely scraping by because of the way a lot of the payment works. And I'm looking forward to seeing the time where the companies, be it comic companies like DC and Marvel, or media companies, because there is probably going to be a music strike as well, now that I think about it. Because I don't know if you are aware, but when it comes to streaming, artists don't actually see a ton of money. I think one of the highest paying platforms still only pays like a penny a stream. And that is not a lot of money. Like, that is not a lot of money at all. And you think about how much money these platforms charge for their services, like, and how many subscribers they have, plus ad revenue. That's like, you really can't afford to pay the artists more than this. And it's like, streaming is part of the reason why, like, album sales are down, if I'm remembering correctly. Uh, I do say take this with a grain of salt because I likely, it is highly possible that I am misremembering some of the details. Because it's been a little while since I saw some of the information. But yeah, no, like, artists are kind of getting shafted, and they're like, hey, we put all of this hard work and all of this effort into our music, and we're not being fairly compensated for it because, like, the streaming model is, incidentally enough, the same issue that writers have been having. The streaming model is kind of not the model that we started under, and for a lot, like, you have a lot of the older artists who started before streaming was a thing. I think one of the bigger people behind a lot of this movement is Snoop, and Snoop definitely started before streaming. Like, Napster wasn't a thing yet. And if you're old enough to remember Napster, consider taking your pain meds. I'm sorry, if you were old enough to use Napster when Napster was, like, the thing, and this would have been the late 90s into the early aughts, how's your back? Mine's fine for now. But, I also didn't sleep funny lately, so, we're good. But, yeah, no, like, the streaming model does not take into account adequate pay. And you have artists who have so many streams, and it's like, okay, but this doesn't translate to anything. Like, I have, 500 million. I have half a billion streams, but this works out to what, 5 cent, a couple $100, if that. And a lot of artists are, like, extremely dissatisfied because these aren't deals they made, these are deals that the labels made with streaming companies. And, like, it should be noted that artists don't get a whole lot of compensation anyway. Like, I don't know if the figures have changed since I last looked, but if I'm remembering correctly, artists only make about 15% off of their album sales. 15% is not a lot of money. Okay. So you have a lot of rightfully angry artists that are like, hey, this isn't fair. This needs to change. This is unsustainable. And I am a prolific streamer. Like, I predominantly stream. Because that's the system that works for me. Like, I bounce between devices pretty regularly. I've got I've got an iPad, and I've got a phone, and I've got, a desktop and a laptop, and I don't want to have need to have redundancies for my music. I don't want to have to, constantly be bouncing my music from one device to another because I'm on my laptop, which does not have iTunes on it, so I can't like do anything with that. To be fair, that laptop doesn't have iTunes on it because iTunes is not Linux compatible, um, my knowledge, and that laptop runs Linux. But like my desktop, I don't want to constantly have to be on my desktop because I don't constantly want to have to be sitting in front of a computer. Um, and streaming is the system that works best because I don't constantly have to, sync my music to devices, and then I have to do this, that, and the third. It it really just works better, and like that convenience is great as a listener. Not so much as an artist, and I'm not an artist, so I can't speak to that side. But there are plenty of people who can. And I think it's kind of important that we have that conversation too. Uh, there we go. And again, I'm not upset that I'm having this conversation, but I do feel like I'm not exactly being super clear. So I do apologize for that. Um, but if you want more information for that stuff, I do recommend looking it up. Like, it is probably better to it's definitively better to look that stuff up, and that way you have a better idea of what's going on and who the players at stake are and all of that fun stuff. uh, and I'm not saying that I'm incapable of getting the facts straight. It's just that would require sitting down and looking at it and like definitively picking through it, definitely picking through, not definitively, sitting down and picking through and going over all of the facts, and that would take a while. And I'm just, I feel like that would have to be its own separate thing. Like, I wouldn't be opposed to it. It's just, my content is specifically video games with a side of commentary, and some of it is social commentary, sure, but like, um, I don't have all of the facts. I know I don't have all of the facts, so I think it's pertinent that you look this stuff up yourself, because that way you are completely informed and you're not getting your information incorrect. So you can make accurate, informed decisions about what you do and don't want to do, and don't want. Yeah. So it looks like we are. I may actually given the circumstances, because we are at 91%, it may actually just do a long push to get all of this episode to be just the rest of this. That may not be a terrible idea, because if I'm remembering correctly, there's not that much left. Like, I've got to do the ceiling, and I've got to do that, and I've got to do the pillars, and I think that's it. And the, you know, the billboards, but for the most part, I think it would be pertinent that I just finish this in this episode. So I think that's what we're gonna do, despite the fact that, like, there we go. We've definitely hit the 50-minute mark. But again, you know, sometimes I push it a little longer, because that way it's just, you know, you're not getting 5 minutes of this one thing. At least I try to keep from doing that. That way the next episode can be just that one area. Or split into two on the off chance that I get done with it before that full hour is up. But yeah, striking's happening. There's a ton of other things going on in the world. There we go. Cool. Fabulous. There we go. Yeah, man. There we go. I think we can switch back to that since we're cleaning the billboards. And of course, we've got the same ads, just different graffiti. There we go, that's one. Oh, I couldn't quite clearly see what that said. This is unfortunate, because I would have liked to have seen what it said. There we go. Someone's just flowers it. They made a face on the car. Okay. Also, I find it interesting the choice of graffiti, but I find the choice about graffiti interesting anyway. Like, there we go. There's a rocket. It's always really interesting. Like, how do you choose when you're doing graffiti? How do you choose where the where you tag and what you tag? Okay. Since we're down here, we'll start down here. Let's. I think it might be best to do this way. Let's swap to that. Swap you. Go here. I think it'd just be easier if we did it this way. That way, we decrease the amount that we're gonna need to do on another pass. And actually, now that I think about it, we have more cleaner we can buy. There. We can take care of as much of that in one pass as possible. There we go. Almost. That way, like I said, we don't have to do a ton more as far as switch back to you. That's the light. That's that. Make sure that we're actually getting everything. Yep. Of course, we still have the pillars to go, but, like... We're nearly there, so. Nearly there. There we go. You'll love to see it. There we go. Almost. There we go. It kind of makes me want one of these clocks. Come on. There we go. And that's part of the reason that I'm using the longer. Because it's easier to take a step back and clean some stuff. There we go. 4 pillars, tactile. What part of this isn't clean? Not that bad. Hmm? Yeah. Clean, clean. Clean. Not clean. Okay. There we go. Okay. That. Switch back to that. We can. Yeah, like it. This is why you like go back and double check. But sometimes you are genuinely missing something and don't realize it. That's one pillar. And that's why I was being so, like, fussy about going back and going along and making sure that I was getting everything, because it's almost always something you're missing. Okay. That's 2. It's kind of like the bathroom club thing that was going on, and how I was missing, like, those couple of things and didn't realize I'd missed them. It's really, really, like, Yeah, it ultimately means that it takes longer, but it ultimately means it also takes less time. Silly as a statement that is. There we go. I would really rather not have to go through the issue of I missed something and now I have to go track down what it is. I and I know I literally just did that, but like that is just a justification to take your time. Okay. There we go. There we go. So, that is actually where we're going to call it for today. As a reminder of the question of the day, what is your favorite comic book? But that's where we're going to call it. So, I have been Dorknot. This has been PowerWash Simulator. And when we come back, we are going to clean, we're going to clean the fortune teller's wagon. And if you enjoyed this video, or any video in the series, or any of the videos I've ever done, consider leaving a like on this video, dropping a subscription to the channel, and hitting the notification bell so you know when I upload, even if it is really regular. You can also find me on coffee.com, uh, at coffee.com/dorknot, that is ko-fi.com/dorknot, if you're so inclined to leave a tip, but please do not feel obligated. Um, but yeah, come see me again sometime, won't you? Goodbye.